Hi everybody, today we're going to play Minion Hunter, and I'm also playing with the expansion Minion Nation. This game came out in 1992, and it's just such a unique game. You've got kind of two boards going on in this game. One is the outer track where you kind of skill up and generally advance your character. It's kind of like an RPG kind of light game. I guess not really a lot of RPGs, but you've kind of got a character sheet. And in this game, I'm going to be playing Sousa Smith. Now, there's 4 abilities in Minion Hunter. And you have empathy, you have stalking, you have combat, and you have contacts. As you go through the game, you start out with one point in each attribute. And basically, this is kind of a futuristic America. And in this game, what happens is there's these dark minions, and there's 4 of them. There's the Fey Folk, there's the Morlocks, there's the Nukids, and there's the ET. Now, this game was actually based on Lester Smith's role-playing game called, I think it was called Dark Conspiracy. It was kind of a fringe thing. I don't think a lot of people that I knew played it or owned it, but the books look cool. This cover here is actually by Larry Elmore, and I think that cover is just great. But anyways, so you're going to advance your character, you're going to try to build up your character, and then there's all these plots that are going on in the United States. And basically we want to try to thwart the plots before... now, I'm going to leave it this way. I know the map of the United States is... Well, you know what, I think we'll turn this around here quick. I think kind of the map of the United States just makes more sense then. Just hoping that these minions don't get in the way. Okay, I've added these blue cubes. This kind of just helps me locate where certain things are in the game. There's going to be 2 kind of the plot track. There's basically all these cities, and the cities in the States have a lot of them have combined together. And there's these locations like between cities that are too inhospitable to govern. So they're called here the yellow sections are outlaws, and the orange sections are demon ground, and then there's various cities throughout. There's going to be these plot cards that are going to go through, and they're going to keep going, and once they get to the discard pile, they're going to advance some of these minions, dark minions. And basically, if one of the dark minions gets to the 20 on the track, then the player loses. So I'm going to be playing this solo. This game does play from 1 to 6 players, and I think it scales excellent. I played this game a lot, especially in the mid 90s. It's just, again, if you've never seen this game before, I think you'll enjoy the playthrough. It's a pretty cool game. All right, so Sousa Smith, she gets to start in one of the corners, and I'm going to put this down here by the plot track. I'm going to try to make sure you can see everything kind of as best as we can here. We get to start on one of the corner spaces, and all of these now. There's different ways to play. We can play where these minions... Oh, there should be one more minion. Did I lose it? Yeah, it's that here? No. Here it is, ETs. So these all kind of start on level 1. Now there's in the expansion, it gave you some extra ways that you could play the game to make it harder or easier. The solo game is pretty tough, so I think we'll just play it here. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to just get some street training. And the street training, as it says here, is 2 contacts and an extra stocking. So I'm going to add 1 to my stocking score and 2 contacts. Okay, and now the game's going to begin. Now, every round, there's going to be 2 plots that we know of. So there's one in Oil Bay and another one in Oil Bay. And Oil Bay, I think, is down here in Texas. So basically, I can try to go there and try to thwart the things, but I don't have a lot of skills right now. So in the early game, mostly it's building up the skills. So I can put one of these plots on Oil Bay just so we know. Okay, so every turn you roll a d6, and I got a 3, so I can go 1, 2, 3 to this dark encounter, or 1, 2, 3 average versus combat. Now, when it says average, you're rolling a d10 on your thing with whatever your skill is. If it's hard, you're going to have the amount, and you have to get that number or under, and it's rounded down. And if it's easy, it's double the number. Now, when you roll a skill test, it's always using a d10, and a 10 on this means a 10, and a 10 is always a failure, and a 1 is always a success. So it doesn't matter how much, there's always a chance of succeeding or failing. So because if I go to busted and so if I fail it, I go to outpatient care, so that takes me to the hospital. I don't really want to go to the hospital yet. I guess it's just outpatient care, so like I'm trying to lose as little time as possible. But going to either going to the Metroplex, you know what? Let's do it. We'll go to Oil Bay, and now I could choose to encounter something here or here because the cards are the same. And I forgot. At the beginning of the game, in every game you take out 12 cards, but because I'm playing a solo game, there's a lot of cards here for me to go through by myself, and it's a pretty vicious game solo. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I'm actually gonna take out a few more. I'm gonna take out 5 more. 2, 3, 4, 5. Just gives me a little bit easier chance to maybe win here. So we'll go to the game. Now I start off with no money, and that's something that's critical. So let's take this Oil Bay card here. All right, it says it's a wild hunt, and there's 2 options here for this card. I can go easy versus empathy. There's just one option, easy versus empathy. If I succeed, I get +2 stockings. If I fail, stocking. If I fail, I get all my contacts are eaten. Now, easy versus empathy. Well, my empathy score is only 1 right now. So easy takes it to a 2. I have to get a 2 or 1 on this dice to succeed. And I failed, so all my contacts are eaten. So going to street training, where I found some contacts, they're now gone. So easy come, easy go in this game. And I know now what I dropped. I dropped my eraser. So I'm just going to get that and come back. Okay, so now I've got no contacts. But at least I didn't go to the hospital. Now that card goes there. I can go back to it. Now, with these wild hunts, it just gives me more, it kind of buys time. I don't know if you're supposed to get rid of them. I can't remember if you're supposed to get rid of them after you've gone through certain cards, or if they keep going along the track. I'm going to say that they keep going along the track. At the end of my turn, however, this card slides over, and then I begin a new turn. So this would be turn 2. When I'm in, now here, because I'm on Oil Bay, I guess we took the other Oil Bay out. Now the next plot is in Reno. So Reno's here. I can move along the map, and I can move by foot. And if I move by foot, I just move from one, against one kind of line, from one city to another city. If I go through any of these yellows, I have to roll on an outlaw chart, and if I go through Demon Ground, I have to roll through a Demon Ground chart. I can also take a train, which costs me $250 per Metroplex, and I think I can go up to 3 on a train. So I pay that amount, and I can take a train, and then I get a bonus on my rolls. When you roll an outlaw and Demon Ground, you want to roll high. The higher you roll, then sometimes there's no effect. Or I can also take an airplane. An airplane's 1,000 per Metroplex. But that costs, but I can go up to 5 on it. But I don't have any money yet, and so on my turn, there's no point in me trying. I can't get to Reno because I can only walk to one other city, or hitchhike, or whatever you want to call it. So based on that, now I can go back to one of the corner spaces on the board, and I think I'm going to go back to the same spot I was at, and go back to street training, and I'm going to get 2 contacts. So I'm going to build back those contacts that I lost, and I'm going to get 1 stocking. So I'm at 3 stocking and 2 contacts, and then this card's going to go here at the end of my turn. And of course, if this was a fame card, we're going to play with a hard thing here. Fame moves everybody up 1, and then it might say Fey 5. And if I don't successfully thwart that mission, then the Fey folk would go up 5 on the track, And if they, again, if one of these minions ever gets to 20, they kind of dominate the United States, and of course, you know, in this kind of game, dominate the world. Okay, so I guess I can go to the discard pile. Okay, so it's my next turn. Now, when I bring that down, this card, so there's always 2, so I know I've got a place in Reno, and there's also one in St. Louis. And so I'm going to go for my, I guess, turn 3. And 3 again. Going here is not great because I keep rolling this 3. I don't want to go to Busted. I'm going to go to the Dark Encounter. I'm going to head to Reno. Let's have a look and see what's going on there. Reno says a Demon Ground, so I'm going to roll for Demon Ground. Now there's this, I've got this kind of, in the expansion, Minion Nation, it kind of gave you some new charts to use. So I'm going to be using the charts that are in this thing, and I'll just read them instead of showing them on the screen here every time. So yeah, so I have to roll for a Demon Ground encounter. So the first thing that you do when you roll for Demon Ground is you roll to see if it's on table A or B, and this will be table A. And I just changed the dice out there. And so table A, and it's a 3. Then you roll a D10. So I'm attacked by Sponges. I have no idea what they are because, again, I didn't play the role-playing game. But halt movement, succeed at difficult versus combat or stalking, or go to intensive care. Well, I've got 3 in stalking and I've got 1 in combat. So either way, difficult because you round down is going to be 1. So I got to get a 1 on the die, or I'm going to go to intensive care. All right, and I didn't do that, so I go to intensive care. When you go to intensive care, you lose a equipment card, and I don't have any equipment currently, so that's not a big deal at all. So, but I'm now going to miss a whole bunch of turns while I recover in the hospital. So this card's going to go to here, and then I'm going to roll now on my next turn. I have to roll in the hospital encounter chart. So again, I'm going to roll both of these at the same time. And at 1 to 3 means that there could be an encounter, there is an encounter. And 5 says security investigation of murdered patient. Do not advance. So I don't advance. At the end of the turn, this goes down. St. Louis, and the other thing goes to New Orleans. Okay, and next turn, I roll, and if it's a 4, 5, or a 6, I just advance on the track. So that's going to drop. Next turn, it's a 3, so I get encounter number 7. Organ Lager Assault. Succeed at easy versus combat to advance. My combat's 1. Doubling it takes it to 2. I need a 2 or less. I didn't succeed. I don't advance. So at the end of my turn, this plot card's going to go down. It says Nukids is worth 3. And that means the Nukids on the block is going to go to 3. This is going to drop. Next turn, there's back to Reno, so Reno and New Orleans. Now, I don't know, I think there's 3 cards for every city, or 2 cards for every city in the game here. I'm going to roll for my hospital advancement. Again, a 4, 5, or 6 on the D6 says I just get to advance. This is going to drop. Next turn, roll on the hospital. Okay, so there's an encounter because I rolled a 1, 2, or 3 on the D6, and it's encounter number 3. It says empathic roommate. Receive an empathy, then advance. So that's handy. So when I advance, I get to go to one of the corner spaces, or I can go straight into, on any of the corner spaces, I can exit straight to the map, or I can instead do the training and get there. So I think this time I'm going to go over here, and let's build up some more stuff. I'm going to go to empathic training, and it says +1 contact. So I'm back to my 3 contacts, and I get +2 empathy. So I'm at 4 empathy now. At the end of the turn, New Orleans drops over. It's a fame because we're playing this hard version. Everything with fame goes up by 1. So these are all going to go to 2. And then new kids are going to go to 5. Now, there is one thing that we play. It's this kind of my own rule for it. Fame can never take it from 19 to 20. It's actually got to be a card that has a value with that type of minion. Okay, so next turn. Oops, I don't have to roll the d10. I can go 1. I can go to natural empath and get +2 empathy, or I can go to equipment and get 2 more equipment. Equipment's really good, but I'm gonna go to the empathy. So I'm at now 6 empathy. Oops, and that should have dropped last turn. And now this goes to here. And the next thing's in the Quad Cities. And the Quad Cities is there. Okay, so next turn. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can go easy versus stalking. I've got 3 in stalking, so that would need a 6 or less. Succeed, I get stalking and empathy. Failing, I go to the general ward, which is the middle track in the hospital, and I lose a contact. Or I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or I can just gain a contact. I think I'll just gain a contact. I don't want to spend more time in the hospital. So at this point, Sousa Smith has 6 empathy, 3 stalking, 1 combat, and 4 contacts. So she's starting to build up she's starting to skill up. So at the end of my turn, the ETs kind of have a plot going on, and they go up by 3. So they're kind of pressing forward. This drops down. So the Reno card is now replaced with new Boswash. So it must be Boston and Washington together. I'm not sure. Okay, so next turn. Oops. And it's a 5 for movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So lying low, no effect. So I go back to empathic training, which is good because I'm going to get another contact. That's going to take me to 5 contacts, and I get 2 more empathy. So I'm very empathic. I have 8 empathy skill. Now you can go over 10. You could have 15 in a skill. That's fine. But this is going to drop down. Next turn, I go to 4. So basically I'll have, up to 2 turns to do every plot in a single game. So notice in a 2-player game, one person would have up to 2 chances, and then the deck has more movement spots if you're playing more people. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can go to a Dark Encounter, or I can draw an equipment. I don't want to go to the Dark Encounter yet, so I'm going to go to the equipment section here. When I draw an equipment, I'm going to flip this over. You flip over a card, 1 card at a time, and this says here that the value is 1,200. So I found this equipment. Somebody's trying to sell me this Ramtech assault armor, but I don't have the money for it. So if I had $1,200, I could buy it, and it would give me 3 more combat, but it drops me by a stalking. And it's a head and torso. I can only have 1 thing on my torso and 1 thing on my head, 2 arms, that kind of stuff. So, but I can't buy it. So I turn this equipment card in instead, and I get $120. So basically, it's kind of weird. As you, I don't know where my hundreds went. I thought I had hundreds, but that's fine. So I now have $120. Now, all of the money in this game and all of the cards in the game, you actually have to, believe it or not, you had to cut it all out by hand, which is probably strange nowadays, but that's what it is. So all these cards I had to cut out by hand. The Minion Nation had more cards as well. So, and I remember when I got this, I went to a tennis tournament in Alberta. I was actually playing summer games for tennis, and it was probably 92 or 91, and it was pouring rain, so we were the tennis was canceled. So I was like, okay, we'll go to the game store. And I went with my ex-wife and went to the game store, and I saw Minion Hunter and Blood Bowl 2nd Edition, and I bought those, and we kind of struggled through the rules and played them. I don't think she was too happy. She wanted to go shopping for other things, but I can't really remember. It's a long time ago. Okay, at the end of that turn, the Quad Cities comes down, and this is a corporate raid, so it's not a fame, so it doesn't advance anybody. So we kind of got a break there. All right, so the new Boswash stays, and now the Carolina Triangle is where the other plot is. Next turn. 2. Okay, so this is Psychic Test Facility. So that's really good because it's gonna get me stuff based on how much empathy I have. Or I can go to easy versus stalking. If I have, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go here, but I have to. I'm gonna waste a turn here. But let's go here. So at the test facility, my empathy currently is 8. So if it says your empathy is 4 or higher, you gain 2 empathy. So I'm now at 10 empathy. I get a stalking and I get a contact. So I'm at 4 stalking and I'm at 6 contacts. But I have to lose a turn. So this is gonna go here. Next turn I stand up and this comes down. And this is a haunt. It's a fame card. So everybody, all the minions, because of the way we're playing, go up by 1. Okay, and this comes down. The next plot is in Vegas. And I'll roll the die. It's a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dark encounter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a demon ground. Well, you know what? I might as well go onto the board, and so I can move to either plot card Metroplex. I could go to the Carolina Triangle or Vegas. Well, the Carolina Triangle's here, so let's go there. And let's see what's going on. It's a false lead. There's no encounter here. You've been misled by a red herring. Better luck next time. Okay, I'm pretty sure that one should go away. Okay, so we'll go to the next. Okay, and a turn, this will drop down. The next plot is in LA. Now notice I'm not near Vegas. I don't have the money to take a train, and I can't walk to either side on the west coast. So next turn I'm gonna pop off the board and I'm gonna go here. Now at the security training it says +1 combat and draw an equipment card, but there was a mistake on the board. It says right in the rules. So instead it's +2 combat. So I'm gonna be at 3 combat and I get to draw an equipment, and it's a crossbow. It's $350. I don't have $350, so I turned it in instead for $35. I don't know why I get money when I don't have it. There's probably an explanation in the rules, but that's fine. But I think it's kind of neat. You know, some of these things with money you can get 50 grand. So okay, and this is gonna drop. Okay, and next turn 2. I can go to street fight, or I can go to join special forces. So join special forces, I gotta go average versus combat. I've only got a 3 combat, so I'd have to get 3 or less. The street fight is easy versus combat. I think I get way more in the special forces, like for skills, but I don't want to end up going to lose a contact and go to outpatient care. Yeah, I just go to the general ward if I fail here. So let's try this. This is easy versus combat. So my combat is 3, so that takes it to 6. I need 6 or less. It's a 9, so I failed. So if I fail, I go to the general ward. When you go to the general ward, you don't have to lose an equipment card. And you can always choose the equipment card you want, unless you're playing a variant where it's random, or a variant where you lose more than 1. Okay, the Morlocks this time have a plot in Vegas, and they're now at 3. Alright, so this is going to drop down, and the Vegas one is going to Chatalanta. So it should be somewhere over here. Okay, and I have to roll on the hospital track. So a 4 means I ignore the D10 and I just advance. Next turn I'm in the hospital still, and a 6 means I get to advance. So I'm going to advance, and I'm going to again go to, now I can go to LA or Chatlanta, but I'm going to go back to security training, and I'm going to get 2 more combat. So I'm now at 5 combat, and I get an equipment card. Now this is emergency auto beacon, and if stranded between metroplexes, so if I'm in the middle of nowhere, I can go to the nearest metroplex. Now this costs $18.25, but I don't have that, so I get $185. And I could probably make change, but it's fine. 150, 75, 185. Trying to spread my money out just so you can see what I have here. I don't know if you can see it that well. But okay, alright, and then this LA plot is going to slide down. The ETs have a plot in LA, so they're going to go up by 2. Again, they go by the value that's in the top corner here. Okay, this channel Lana slides down and it's Nor news. Okay. Alright. And next turn. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Outlaw. Probably don't want to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A contact. So I'm just going to take the contact, which now takes me up to 7 on contacts. Next turn. 2. I can go to corporate raid, which is awful, or I can go to the dark encounter. If I succeed, okay, easy versus stalking. Succeed, I gain a contact. Oh, and gain 2 stalking, and draw 2 equipment. If I fail, you know, I think I'll do that. Let's do that. So easy versus stalking. My stalking score is 4, so I need an 8 or less. Of course, I get a 9. So if I fail, I go to the intensive care. I'd have to lose an equipment, but I don't have one. Okay, at the end of my turn, the Shatlana comes down. The Morlocks have some kind of plot going on. That's the first turn. Next, we'll go to the hospital. The hospital is a 1 and it's a 2. So this is probably a good hospital encounter. Empathic nurse. Healing proceeds rapidly. Advance, then take another turn. So I go there and I get to try again. And this is a 9, so this will be bad. A drug raid in the hospital. Succeed at easy versus combat to advance or go back a space. Well, my combat's 5, so it takes me to 10. So the only thing that will fail on this die now is a 0. Okay, so I succeed, so I get to advance. This is going to drop, and the Chatlanta, the new thing, was in Denver. Okay. All right, next turn. 5. Oh, sorry, I don't roll because I'm here. I can go to Nor News, or I could go to Denver, or I can go somewhere else. And I think I'm gonna go try to get some stalking. So I think I'm gonna go over to this corporate training. So it says I get 2 stalking. So now it's 6 stalking. I get 1 contact, which takes me to 8 contacts, and I lose an empathy, so I get 9 empathy, and I get to draw an equipment card. Okay, this is a distorter. It says ignore any proto-dimension encounters. Its value is 2.3 million, so I can turn it in for 46 grand. So now I have 46 grand. So now, I don't know, I got some kind of inheritance here. So now because I've got lots of money, now I can start moving on the board more. Because I have money now. Now, a lot of my friends say, wow, that's very swingy with these cards. Sometimes you get equipment that's just worthless, and you can go the whole game and not have any money, and the game becomes tough. Or when you get money, now you can start flying around America to defeat these things. And I've got a pretty good character set up here. So, you know, I've got 9 in empathy, I've got 6 in stalking, 5 in combat, and 8 in contacts. I might want to get a few more things, but we'll see. So at the end of the turn, the Morlocks have a plot in Nor News, and they go up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Denver goes, and New Boswash is the new place. Okay, so from here I got to roll, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can get an equipment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Easy versus combat. If I succeed, I get a contact, a stalking, and draw 2 equipment. Let's go for that. My combat score is 5, so easy is only a 10 I'll fail on. So I succeed. I get a contact and a stalking, and I draw 2 equipment. So a contact takes me to 9, a stalking takes me to 6, and 2 equipment. I should be able to buy all these. A zip gun cost me $75. It gives me 1 extra combat in my hand, but it breaks on a 9 or 10. So if I roll when I roll to defeat something, if I get a 9 or 10 on the D10, it's going to break. I'm going to put this back here so you can kind of see my equipment. And I got to pay 75 for that. Okay, and then the second card is an Ingram M10. Plus 2 combat, but I can roll twice. I can roll the dice twice. This is really good. It's $650. So I'll pay $1,000 and I get $350 back. I'm gonna use that Ingram if I can because it's great. Okay, and then this is gonna slide down. You can have as much equipment as you have. There's no limit on that in the game, but you can only use so much depending on how many hands you have. So 2 more equipment, or I can go to security training, which gets me 2 more combat. Well, and I draw an equipment. Let's go there and kind of just build just a little bit more. I'm at 7 combat natural, and I draw an equipment. I found a Ford Revlon Elite, so I have my own car now. And believe it or not, you take your car no matter where you go. Map encounter is +4 on all the rolls, so when you go here, turn-in value is 5,500. Oh, I don't have enough because it's 55,000. So I can't buy it because I don't have 55. I only got 46,000 there, so I didn't get that car. But I have 5,500 more dollars. So 5,500 more dollars. All right. Then the plot in Denver happens. It's a fame. It's an animated statue. Anything in the news is good news for these minions. All right. This is going to come down. Now there's, instead of Denver, there's one in Memphis. Oh, where's Memphis? Here we go. All right, next turn. 2. I can go to the street fight, or I can go to the join the special forces. Let's join the special forces. Average versus combat. So my combat score is 7, but I'm going to use the Ingram M10, which takes it to 9, and I can roll twice. So no problem, I succeed. Succeed, +2 combat, +1 contact. So I'm at 9 natural combat, plus contact, I'm at 10 contacts. And draw equipment, draw 3 equipment. Alright, first equipment is a Wildy Wolf, it's 190. Okay, 200 and take 10 back. Okay, the second equipment is a Lockheed Javelin Jet. I can do difficult versus contacts to try to get it, because I can't buy it. I don't have 3.25 million. So let's go difficult versus contacts. So my contacts is 10. I got to get a 5 or less. I fail it. So I turn it in for 65 grand. So now, I don't think I've ever had this much money in a game of Minion Hunter. I played this game a lot. Oh, sorry, 65,000. Alright. And the third card is another AK-74, sorry, and it costs 500 bucks. I don't know if you can see that, but that's okay. So I'll give $500 and buy it. Alright. This clot's gonna go to there. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can draw an equipment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or draw 2 equipment. Well, let's draw 2 equipment. Suzuki Sparrow costs $950. Sure, I'll buy it. I'll put in 1,000. Do I have 1,000? Nope. I'll put in 5,000. And take 1, 2, 3, 4. 4,050 in return. Now the second one is a Zil Tovarish. It cost me 6 grand. Sure, why not? When you got all this money, you can buy stuff. Alright. This new Bonds Wash is gonna go. It's Fame. It's a rat swarm. So everything creeps up. As you can see, I've got a lot of cards to go through, and okay, so I'm gonna go here. Oops, Memphis goes, and then the new plot is in Reno. Okay, I'm gonna go to Memphis. Let's start. Let's try to get rid of this stuff. Again, another false lead. So that is gonna instead go to the Carolina Triangle. Next turn. Oops, I don't want to roll. I want to. I think I want to fly to Reno. Now, fly to Reno. 1, 2, 3, 4 cities. I can take. I can't take my car, this little car, because it only gives me a map move of 2. So I could go to the Carolina Triangle, but I think I want to try to get as many of these things as I can, because the Morlocks are kind of getting advanced on that track. So for 4, it's going to cost me $4,000 to take an airplane, because it's 4 map spaces, and I'm going to fly through St. Louis. There's no... it doesn't run through any of these things here, so I don't have to make a check. Then I go to Denver, and then I go to Salt Lake City, and now I'm here. Between Salt Lake City and Reno, there's some Demon Ground stuff going on. So I'm going to roll these dice. Now, on the Demon Ground, because I'm taking an airplane, I get +4 on my Demon Ground roll. So, you roll on it. So first of all, you start by doing the d6. So this means it's table B, and then you roll the d10. So 8 plus 4 is 12, and if it's 6 or higher, there's no encounter. So nothing happened. I made it to Reno successfully. All right. So there's a proto-dimension. So I now have to roll on a proto-dimension encounter. I can't choose the type of proto-dimension that it's going to be, so I'm going to roll a d10 to see what it is. It's 2. I get sucked into the temporal proto-dimensions, and then I roll a d6 to see what happens to me. And it's a 5. It says encounter a temporal prowler, succeed at difficult versus combat, or go into intensive care. Okay, so I'm going to use my AK-47. I've got 9 combat, 10, 11, 12. Divide it by 2 is 6. I need a 6 or less. And I got a 1, so I succeed. Okay, so that's what happens there. All right, so both plots are now in the Carolina Triangle. 1, 2, 3. I can only go up to 5 spaces. Can I get there within 5? 1, 2. No, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 5. 4. No, I can't get there. I can't get there in time. So I'm gonna have to go back to the edge of the board, and I want to get some stalking because I'm kind of lowest in the stalking. So I'm gonna go over to here because I think this is plus. So it's corporate training. I get 2 stalking. That takes me to 9. I get a contact, which takes me to 11 contacts, and I lose an empathy, so I'm now at 8 empathy, and I draw an equipment card. And this is a M203 grenade launcher, and so if I roll a 7 to 10 when I use it, it'll go away, it'll be destroyed. Or out of ammo, I guess. It cost me $550, so I have the money, so let's buy it. I'll put in a 1,050. Take 500. Alright. And this will drop. And I'll roll, and I got a 2. A windfall. Windfall gives me unlimited money, pretty much. I'll get another 50 grand if I do easy versus contacts. So let's do that. I've got 11 contacts, so only a 10 will fail, and I get 50 grand. So I've got 100 grand now. Okay. So, and this Carolina Triangle plot at the end of the turn is an ETs by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is going to drop. The next one is Chilwaukee. There. And I'll roll. 1, 2, 3. I can get an equipment. 1, 2, 3. I can draw 2 equipment. Well, might as well draw 2. A longbow. You know what? I don't think I need it. I'm not even going to take it. I can buy it. I have the money. Sawed-off shotgun. Again, I don't think I need it. I'll just ignore it. This will slide down, and I can roll. I got a 1. Okay, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to the Carolina Triangle. And let's see what's happening for the plot there. There's a demon ground. Damn. So again, I'm going to roll for a demon ground encounter. So I'm going to roll a d6 and a d10. So the 6 means that it's on table B. Sorry. And the 8 on this dice, the 6 or higher, there's no encounter, so nothing happens. Demon ground will go there. And this Chilwaukee card, sorry, this one is going to go to New Orleans. Okay, so Chilwaukee is pretty close. It's one. Okay, I can't take my car because it only gives me a map encounter 2. I could take a train, or I could just take an airplane. I've got the money, so I'm just going to take an airplane. It's 1, 2, 3. It's going to be 3 grand. So I'll put in 10 grand. Take 7 back. Okay, and I guess I got a check here for an outlaw encounter. I'm going to roll these. Okay, so outlaw encounter, it's going to be table B. And to this 3, I get to add 4, so it's 7. Again, if it's 6 or higher, there's no encounter. So I make it successfully to Cincinnati, then I go here, and then I go to Chilwaukee. Okay. Chilwaukee is some giant roaches. To escape, I can go average versus stalking. It just means that you don't have to go to the hospital. If I fight it, it's easy versus contact. So let's fight it. My contacts is 11. So only a 10 will fail. So I do, and now because I have a fame card, it means I have 1 kind of victory point towards the end of the game. So I think what I'll do is I'll move this up, and then I can show you my successes up here. Okay, this is going to slide down. The Chilwaukee is now going to be replaced in Oklahoma City, which I'm probably pretty close to. Okay, but there's also something going on in New Orleans. So on my next turn, I'm just going to keep moving on the map now. I'm probably going to move on the map a lot until I lose a skill check. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's going to be 2 outlaw encounters. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to pay $3,000 to take an airplane. And I gotta stop here and see what happens. Again, as long as this +4 is higher than 6, then nothing's gonna happen to me. So I make it there, then I make it there. I got a test here, and I make it to New Orleans. Okay, this is a good one. 6 for the Nukids. Okay, so to escape, easy versus stalking, and to fight it, difficult versus empathy. Well, my empathy is 8. I don't have anything here that helps me with empathy, so I'm gonna fight it, but I need a 4 or less. I didn't succeed, so I have to lose an equipment, and I'm gonna go to the intensive care, and this is gonna drop down at the end of my turn, and the Nukids are gonna go up 6. Alright, the new one is Indianapolis, which they just call Indy now. Alright, now I'm in the hospital. So because this is a 4, 5, or 6, I just advance. It's still in the hospital. Okay, it's a 1 with a 6. The 6, the hospital encounter, says medication mix-up, no healing this turn, do not advance. So the Oklahoma City plot is a fame. Oh. Yeah, I'll move up by 1. Next turn. 6 means just a regular advance. Next turn is a 5, a regular advance. So I'm going to go to Indy and try to see what's going on here at this plot. It's a false lead. So the next one said Texamoros and Denver. I didn't move this last time. So the next one is Texamorris. So I'm currently here in Indy, so I could go. Yeah, I'll pay $5 grand, and I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I guess I've got to go through this one first. Again, oh, this is gonna be bad. Okay, so I roll the 1, I add 4. So it's gonna be encounter number 4 on the outlaw chart, and at the table A or table B outlaw chart. So table B on A5, I'm attacked by an eco-terrorist missile. I halt movement, my vehicles destroy. So they basically crashed my plane. So I halt my movement, and that means this is going to go down. Next turn, all I can do is try to get to the next city. I can't take a bus. I'm kind of in the wilderness right now because basically all of the citizens of the United States have kind of grouped together and they're living in these cities, these combined cities. So all I can do on my turn is go to St. Louis. And then this Texamorris plot is going to happen. It's a fame, it's some wares. So that's werewolves. So basically everything here is going to go up by 1 again. And it's getting dangerous. Alright, so both plots now are in Denver. You know what? I'm on the map. I could go back out to one of the corner spaces, but instead let's go to Denver. Let's try to thwart some stuff here. It's a proto-dimension encounter, which is nothing I can do about it because I don't have a way to deal with that. So let's see what kind of proto-dimension. I get sucked into the Splinterlands, Earth's partial parallels. And it's number 5. So I'm encountered by an energy ET. Succeed at average versus empathy, or I go to the intensive care. Okay, so average versus empathy. So my empathy score is 8, so I gotta get 8 or less. I succeed, so I don't go to intensive care. Alright, this one moves over to Phoenix. Alright, and because I'm in Denver, on my next turn I can just encounter this plot. So it's a Nukid plot. It says difficult versus empathy. Jeepers. Or I can go easy versus stalking. Nukid's taking it up 5 means I lose the game. So if I fail this, I lose. Difficult versus empathy. So my empathy currently is at 8. Sousa Smith, this is your moment. I got a 4. That's difficult. I succeeded. Prevent the Nukids from doing their thing. Alright. Alright, this is going to go to LA. So on my turn, I think I'm going to take an airplane. I could take my car, but I want the biggest bonus I can to these encounters. So, and I'm going to go to Salt Lake City. There's no encounter there. And then from Salt Lake City to Phoenix. And I go here. I got to roll for an outlaw encounter. Again, I add 4. Okay, sorry about that. Alright. Alright, I just had to take a phone call. Okay, again, I rolled the 1, so I add 4, so it's going to be 5, and this is on the outlaw, and it's table B on the outlaw. So again, another missile hits my plane, which halts my movement. So this is going to drop. On my next turn, I can walk the rest of the distance and get to Phoenix. It's some yellow zombies. To escape it, average versus empathy, or to fight it, average versus contacts. Well, I might as well fight it because my contacts are at 11. So only a 10 on this die will fail. So I succeed. Alright, and then this is going to come down, and this is going to go to St. Louis. Alright, I'm at LA. I might as well fly to LA. I got the money. Alright, so I'll pay 10 grand. It only cost me 1 grand. Okay. And let's go here. Again, I have to stop there. I make it through. There's no missile blowing us up this time. Damn, another proto-dimension encounter. So I gotta see which proto-dimension I get sucked to this time. It's the 6, which is Tartarus, the realm of reversion. And I want to roll low on this die. I've been rolling kind of high. Alright, at 3, succeed a difficult empathy to heal one hospitalized character. Well, that doesn't really matter because there's no hospitalized character, so I don't have to worry about that. So this is going to drop. Alright, this is going to go to Seattle, Vancouver. Alright, and next turn, I guess I could try to fly to St. Louis. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so I'll pay $4 grand to take that airplane. And I gotta go here. So this is gonna be a demon ground check. Again, this is a 9, so I succeed to get to Vegas. Then, yeah, then I've got an outlaw check. It's a 3 plus 4 is 7, so that's higher than 6. So I make it to Salt Lake City, go to Denver, and I'm in St. Louis. It's a haunt. Easy versus empathy to escape, or average versus empathy to, I think it was here. I'm not sure where it was. Average versus empathy to fight it, so I might as well fight it. I've got an 8 or less, so a 9 or a 10 I fail. I succeed. Alright, this is going to drop down. The next plot is in Albuquerque, New Mexico, or wherever that is now. Okay, the next one's in Seattle, Vancouver. 1, 2, 3. I can pay 3,000, and it's not a clear ride though. I'd have to go through 3 rolls here. 1, 2, 5, or I can go through 2 rolls. Well, I might as well go through the 2 rolls and pay $5 grand. So I'll pay 10, get back 5. Alright, get to there, gonna go down to Vegas, so I have to stop here. That's a 7 plus 4 is 11, so I'm successful there. And I go to, oops, I go to here. And then I can go to here. I guess I only needed 1 roll. Alright, Seattle, Vancouver. Again, it's a demon ground encounter. Okay, the demon ground encounter is table 2, but I rolled higher than a 6, so nothing happened there. This is going to drop. And I guess it's time to go to Albuquerque. So I think I'm going to go this way, to Reno to Vegas, or I can go to San Francisco to Vegas. Yeah, then I'll go to Phoenix to Albuquerque. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I need $4 grand. 1,000 back on that $5 grand. 1, 2, 3. Stop here. Okay, again, a 4 plus 4 is 8. That's good. Make it there. Then I gotta stop here. See if anything happens. Nothing. So I make it to Albuquerque. It's a moss zombie. Easy versus stalking, or average versus combat. I'll take the average versus combat. I'll use my Ingram. I can roll twice. 8 definitely succeeds. So that's thwarted. At the end of the turn, this is going to go here. There's now a plot at Cincinnati and in the Twin Cities. Okay, Cincinnati's first. 1, 2, 3. I guess I'll pay $3 grand. Take an airplane there. Now again, if you don't have the money, the game becomes a very different game. Okay, this is an outlaw encounter. I'll re-roll that. This is a 1, but it's on table 3 this time on the outlaw. So that's a B, the 8, table A, sorry. And it's 1 plus 3, so 5. 1 plus 4, I mean. Eco-terrorists hijack your transportation. Halt movement. Vehicle stolen. If on foot, I have to succeed or I lose my most expensive equipment card. Well, I was not on a vehicle, so they stopped me, which means this is going to go down, and I'm not going to be able to get there, so I'm just going to head back to Albuquerque, and I'm going to stay on the board because I don't want to waste a turn drawing. You know what? Hold on, I could. When I go to Albuquerque, when you get here, sorry, if you're in a city, next turn you can go to any of the corner spaces. You know what? I'll just go there. There's nothing I can do. Cincinnati, there's Morlocks. And they go up by 2. I got lucky, because they could have went up way more than that. So there's one in Twin Cities and now one in the Quad Cities. Well, they're so close together. I was going to maybe go off the board, but I might as well just try to thwart it. So I'm going to go through Denver straight to the Twin Cities. So that's $2,000 I'm going to pay for airline fees. I'll stop here, see if there's an outlaw encounter. There isn't. And I'll stop here and see if there's an outlaw encounter. And there isn't. So I get to the Twin Cities. There's a poltergeist there. Average versus contacts, or difficult versus empathy. Again, empathy is my empathy is my one of my least stats, and it was pretty good. I don't want to move everything up. I'm gonna fight it. Average difficult versus empathy. So I've got 8. That's only a 4. That's a miss. So I'm gonna go to the intensive care. I maybe shouldn't have did that. I will get rid of my wildly wolf here. Okay, and this is gonna come down. So there's one in the Quad and the Gold Coast. And I'm gonna roll for the hospital track. That's just a regular thing. And this is a hospital encounter. It's a blood raid advance, but succeed at easy versus combat or lose a contact. So that succeeds. So but I advance, I don't lose a contact. Again, it's a demon ground encounter, so it's good. I think what I'm gonna do is let's go see if I can get some more empathy. So let's go to empathic training. I get a contact. That takes me to 12 contacts, and I'm gonna go to 2 empathy, so that's gonna take me to 10. Okay, this is gonna drop. Gold Coast and Oklahoma City. Alright, and I gotta roll now because I'm on the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can go to either Metroplex. Let's go to the Gold Coast. See what's there. Bloodkin. Easy versus empathy or difficult versus combat? Let's do the difficult versus combat. This is a fame thing. So I'm gonna use my grenade launcher. It takes 2 hands. So I have 9 combat plus force 13. You know what? I might as well not use that. I might as well just use the AK-47 because it gives me 3. 9 plus 3 is 12. Difficult makes it 6, and I don't have a chance of losing my weapon. So I succeed. So I defeat the Bloodkins. Alright. At the end of the turn, this drops. This goes to Orleans. And from here, I guess I could try to get to Oklahoma City, which is down here. I guess the easiest way is $3,000, so I'll pay 10 to take back 7. Alright, see if we get stopped in this, see if there's some terrorism. Okay, we get to Chatlanta, we go to Memphis, and now we got another Demon Ground encounter. And we're successful to get there. In Oklahoma City, there's Fey Folk. This will not end the game. Easy versus empathy or difficult versus contacts? Well, I do have 12 contacts. Easy versus empathy is a sure thing to escape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could just let it happen because the Fey Folk are so far behind. I'm still gonna do it. I'm gonna go after him. Difficult versus contact. So I've got 12. I'm gonna need 6 or less. No problem. I succeed. Alright, so this is gonna come down. Twin City plot. New Orleans and the Twin Cities. So I can get to New Orleans for pretty cheap. It's going to be two cities, so that's going to be 2,000 if I take an airplane. And I got to check for this Demon Ground encounter, and it's not no encounter, so I get to New Orleans without incident. And it's an Ifrit. Escape easy versus empathy, difficult versus combat. I'm going to do the difficult versus combat. Again, I'm going to need a 6. Let's see if I can do it. It's a 1. I succeed. Now, if you lose the game, whoever has the most points is kind of the first killed. And every fame card is 1 point. If you win the game, whoever's got the most points wins. So that's kind of how it makes it slightly competitive. Again, I took out an extra 5 cards. I did that because I'm playing solo. The rules don't tell you to do that. You always just take out 12 cards, whether it's 6 people or less. So maybe cheating a little bit here, but wanted to give you a solid playthrough on how the game works. And I like this idea of having it's kind of old school with this standard Monopoly style track, but then you've got this kind of thing going on here. It's very simple. It's kind of a good family game too. It's as long as you can handle these dark minions and these things, but it's kind of cool in that respect. Okay, so I'm in New Orleans, and the next is West Erie. So West Erie is probably over on the west coast, I'm guessing. Oh no, at Lake Erie, probably. Okay, so I think I'm gonna head up to the Twin Cities. So 1, 2, 3, 4 grand. Again, I have all this money, and that's the only reason that I can be doing this, because otherwise it becomes a very, very different game, because you're managing your money. You don't have, you're taking trains, more kind of encounters are happening, or you're trying to walk, or you're going back and forth, and this becomes way more volatile. Okay, so from here I gotta have an outlaw encounter, and it's gonna be +4, so nothing happens there. Get to Memphis, go here, go here, go here. I'm finally at the Twin Cities. And again, it's a proto-dimension encounter. So I gotta roll to see which dimension I go sucked into, and this is 9. Which Mechanica, the machine world. And it's encounter number 3. Encounter Asteroid Mark 1. Succeed at difficult versus stalking to escape, or easy versus combat to defeat, or go to outpatient pair. Well, I'm going to do easy versus combat, and I succeed, so I don't go to outpatient care. So this is going to drop here. Then I'm going to go to West Erie, and West Erie 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to take a train, which is only $750. 750, because there's no encounters through this area here. So we go to West Erie. There's Nukids. This will 1, 2, 3, 4. This will almost in the game. They'll go to there. Difficult versus stalking to escape. Average versus empathy. Well, I've got 10 empathy. Only a 10 will fail. I succeed. So this is going to go here. New Boswash comes down. So there's one in New Boswash and Dallas Fort Worth. Alright, well, let's go to New Boswash. So to go here, it's going to cost me 2 grand. Take an airplane. I have to stop in this area to see if there's some kind of terrorist activity. I get there safely. ETs, this will end the game if I don't do it. Average versus contacts to fight it. My contacts is 12. Only a 10 fails. I succeed. That drops this. The next one is in Nornews. Now, even though Nornews is just a hop, skip, and a jump away, the next one is in Dallas Fort Worth. And I gotta get there, because if any of these is high, I'm gonna lose the game. So I think I gotta try everything I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I gotta pay 5 grand. Take that airplane, and then you can only go a max of 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I gotta see if there's a Demon Ground encounter. There isn't, so I get there. Dallas Fort Worth. There's a Mystic Changeling. Fight, average versus empathy. Well, I have 10 empathy, so let's fight this sucker. And I succeed. And this comes down, so the new plot is in Indy. So I think I'm going to have to follow the same route. Alright, we're back. I just have to change my battery. Okay. So I paid the money. Or did I? I don't know if I did or not. I'll just say that I paid it. Oh, I might as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I didn't. So I'll get $1,000 back. And I gotta stop here and see if there's a demon ground. And there's not, so I make it to Memphis. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I get to Nornews. There's an animated auto, fame, difficult versus combat. It'll move everything up by 1. And again, I said a fame can't get it to the final space. That's just kind of my own house rule. Difficult versus combat. Well, or easy versus empathy. I think I'm gonna let it roll here and just do easy versus empathy. If I succeed, so that means they don't trigger yet. So at the end of turn this goes down, and then next turn I think what I'm gonna do is go to Nornews. Sorry, go to Indy. So Indy is 1, 2, 3, $3,000. Alright, so I will see if there's an outlaw encounter. There isn't. 2, 3, oh, I had to pay an extra $1,000. I think I could have did it differently here, but anyways, I got there. And at Indy, there's some ETs, difficult versus contacts. So I've got 12 contacts, I need a 6 or less. This will end the game if I don't do it. I got a 6. At the end of my turn, this animated auto gets to the end of the track. It wasn't dealt with, so everything's going to go up by 1. Alright. So there's a plot in Texamoros and Tampete. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll pay $4,000, I guess. And take another airplane down. So I'm going to go to here. I'm going to stop there, see if there's an outlaw encounter. There isn't. So I make it here. That's 1. I gotta see here and see if there's a demon ground encounter. There isn't. 2, 3, 4. Go to Texamoros. There's some harpies there. They're average versus contacts to escape, or average versus combat to fight. I'll fight. I'll use just my AK because it doesn't have a... I have lots of ammo, I guess, for it. I succeed. I would only fail on a 9. Okay, so that does. It looks like both of the things are in Tampete. I can get there easily. 1, 2, 3, 4 is probably the easiest way, so I'm gonna pay $4,000. Still have like $80,000-ish left here, so let's go to oil. Sorry, not to Oil Bay. We'll go here, and then let's go to Memphis. So there's a demon ground possible encounter. Now 2 plus 4 is 6, so I still don't happen. Go here, and then there's maybe an outlaw encounter. I'm good. I get to Tampete. Let's try this plot. Fae Folk for 2. Easy versus combat. Again, I'll use my AK-74. Only a 10 will fail, so I succeed. The next plot goes to Dallas-Fort Worth. I want to stay where I am on the next turn. It's a wild hunt. Easy versus stalking. Alright, my stalking is 9, so only a 10 fails. And I get 2 more empathy. So that takes me to 12 empathy. Otherwise, all my contacts would be eaten. Okay, this one goes to the Gold Coast. Alright, so I think I'm going to head over to Dallas-Fort Worth. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3 grand. so I gotta see if there is an outlaw encounter. There isn't. I make it there, and I gotta see if there's a demon ground encounter. And there isn't. So I get to Dallas Fort Worth. That's the plot. Morlocks, this will end the game if I fail. Easy versus contacts. Again, only a 10 will fail. So I succeed. Now again, if you're playing with multiple people, they're not all going to have this money. And every turn the plot card track's going to go down, which means that you may, there might be weak links in your party of Minion Hunters. So anyways, I had made it to Tampete. Oh, sorry, Gold Coast. Sorry, this comes down. So Gold Coast and Chilwaukee. Chilwaukee's got to be somewhere in here. Okay, so I guess we're gonna go to the Gold Coast first. So that's gonna be $3 grand. Take an airplane. See if there's a demon ground encounter. There is. Demon ground table A, and this is a 5. I'm attacked by an ET death ray. Halt movement. So this is gonna go there. Vehicle destroyed. So I wasn't on foot, so I don't have to worry about that. So I'm gonna go to Memphis on my next turn. Means this is gonna trigger. It's a fame. So they all go up by 1, but the Morlocks can't get to 20 that way. Yeah, this is going to come down. So Chilwaukee and San Francisco. So these are 2 different places. Can I get there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I still can get there. So to get to Chilwaukee, I can get there freely by taking a bus because there's no encounters in the route. So that's 750. So I'll get 250 back. Alright, I go 1, 2, 3, I make it there. Alright, damn, another proto-dimension encounter. See which thing I get sucked into. Number 7 is Hades, the land of the forgetful dead. And 3, I encounter forget some of your experience, lose 1 point of combat. So that takes me from my 9 to 8. And that could be important here. So that's going to drop. I'm going to head to San Francisco. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 5 grand. Put in 10. Take that 5. Alright, so 1. So this is a potential demon ground. So that's nothing. Another demon ground. Again, demon ground, that's table B. Attacked by the eco-terrorist missile. Halt movement, vehicles destroyed. So on this is going to go down. Next turn I'm going to go to Reno. This comes down here. This is going to go to Vegas, which is good. Next turn I can walk there. I don't want to walk because there's a, I can take my little map move. I can take this little car for free. Go 2 to here, and because there's no bubbles here for those, so I make it with my car. Oh, I break down on a 10. I gotta roll. No, car is fine. Fey folk. Easy versus contacts. Well, I've got 12 contacts, so I've got 24, and just a 10 will fail. I succeed. This is gonna come down to Vegas and Chilwaukee. Alright, so I'm going to take my... I'm just going to walk there. I need some exercise with all this plane travel. And go to Vegas. There's a crawling hand. Easy versus combat, so only a 10 will fail. Succeed, so they don't all go up because it's a thing. Chilwaukee and Chetlana. Chetlana's here. So Chilwaukee, let's see here. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 grand. Take an airplane. See if there's an outlaw encounter. There isn't, because it's got a 6. And I gotta see if there's a demon ground encounter. So I guess I went this way. Right where I was in Vegas. 1, 2, 3, for, sorry, it would be right here where next encounters for an outlaw, but there's no outlaw encounter. ETs, easy versus contacts. Well, again, I've got 12 contacts, so I'm going to need anything but a 10. And there's the 10, the dreaded 10, which means that the ETs advance by 2, and they claim dominance of the United States, and therefore eventually take over the world, because the United States is everything. That is Minion Hunter, so a loss for Sousa Smith, despite all of these, despite the advancement and progress she made, in defeating all of these cards. That's a lot of defeats. Eventually the minions just caught up and got her. So I really enjoy this game. If it's an adventure style game, it's not heavy. If you can find Minion, if you can just find the base game, you don't have these charts, so there's a reduced tables for proto-dimension encounters and stuff like that in the hospital track and stuff, but it's very playable without the expansion. And again, you got to cut out money or just use some poker chips. That would probably be just as easy, but you got to cut out the equipment cards. But hey, it's kind of fun. And Lester P. Smith, who made he made games. They feel like 80s games a lot, but this kind of feels like an 80s game, even though it was made in the early 90s. But I enjoy this game a lot, and thank you for joining me for the journey here. So again, Minion Hunter, and it's Celtic Griffon signing off. Have a good day.